It's going to be the worst tier list you ever see for Wuthering Waves, because instead of me ranking characters based on how good they are, I'm going to be ranking characters on how fun I believe them to be. And we're starting off with Jiyan, the current limited banner character. Jiyan's immediately fun to play because he's fast, all of his basic attack combos will immediately link into one another, his heavy attack leads into a launcher to continue the combo, his resonance liberation allows you to summon this dragon that gives you an additional moveset on top of that. It even changes the resonance skill that you end up using. If we're excluding the fact that this character is tier 0 on a lot of tier lists, I'd still say that Jiyan's one of my favorite units to play. That doesn't mean I'm pulling for him though, I'm just saying. I thought I would hate Verina's moveset a lot more. It turns out I'm just stupid. I was stuck on her tutorial trying to figure out how to do the resonance cancel or something. Turns out I was just supposed to build meter at the bottom bar. She's not as bad as I thought she would be. She moves faster than I expected to, because when I saw healer, I was under the assumption that, oh, she's just gonna play keep away and also slow and not be a fun time, but she has that skill that can just summon vines, and you're doing the keep away tech that can allow you to just keep on attacking her from a distance on top of the heal. To me, she's not just a unit that you're forced to have onto the team specifically because you're playing meta. She actually has some stuff to her, which I'm surprised of. I think if you get Verina, you have the strongest healer in the game so far, and a surprisingly fun unit to play. You probably want to understand the mindset behind the tier list that I have here, so I'll explain that. Favorite is just literal. Of all the characters we talk about throughout the video, these are my favorites. These are going to be the ones that I would default to if I were playing this with the entire roster in my hand. Universal is what I believe that anyone who just picks up this character will enjoy it to some capacity. And while opinionated, I'm going in with a mindset with these characters that I'm playing this as someone who doesn't particularly prefer their toolkit or how I would normally play characters in action games or fighting games, etc. Not for me is not me saying they're not fun, because I would never say that they're not fun. Maybe if we get there. This is just me saying if you enjoy them or if you see yourself enjoying them, that's cool. For me, I'm not enjoying them as much as everyone else, and I wouldn't say that they would be as universally fun as everyone else. But again, this whole thing's opinionated, so you can just let me know what character you found to be the most fun so far as you were playing Wuthering Waves. Transitioning into the other child is Encore, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't remember Encore that much. I understand that she was playable during the story mission, but I truly do not remember anything outside of that. And because I'm not even remembering how she felt, I'm putting her not for me. Every other character on this list, I remember how they played to a certain degree to where I don't have to rewatch the footage or even redo their tutorials to go, okay, yeah, I remember. If I can't even remember what Encore's deal was playing her the one time, whereas other characters here I've played once and I remembered how they felt, I'm just under the assumption that her moveset didn't stick with me at all. It's funny though, because according to tier lists, she's I think 0.5 on the tier list, which means she's a really strong unit. It just didn't stick with me, I guess. Calcharo, I just got him recently for the guaranteed banner. He's a lot of fun. Not only does he have a multi-hit skill, it builds his forte circuit that actually allows you to have an additional move from your heavy attack, if I recall correctly. Because while normally units would have 3 basic attacks, Calcharo has 4, and I think if you're holding with a fully maxed out forte circuit, it leads to another attack that teleports you on top of an enemy for you to continue the combo with. He has a sick looking super that you can continue another combo on top of. So with his array of multiple attacks and the ability to just continuously strike down enemies at such a fast rate, and on top of that, the multi-skill, which not a lot of people have. Yeah, Calcharo is just really fun, and I think I enjoyed him a little bit more than Jiyan. This next part is going to be upsetting for me to admit, but I'm still going to be using this unit anyway, so I'll live. Jianxin, I think, is not that fun to play given how my playstyle is, and I'll explain why. Jianxin has a really strong toolkit. The ability to have shields, the ability to heal, the ability to have a counter. I think all of this is really good. She's still on my main team to this day, and the other 2 units we'll get to when we get to. But with Jianxin, my main issue is that her play style, in this case I'm referring to the basic attacks, is not as fun. Her movement speed can be whatever, I think that's fine, but with her basic attacks, I have to, I guess, well, space each basic attack out, and I'm personally not a fan of that because I like to play fast and I like to play units that are just immediate with each move, to the point where if I whiff hits, I know that it's my fault, but I'm still enjoying the character despite me not having hit them at all for the past couple of minutes. And what's funny is, I know for a fact that Jianxin can solo content because I had her fight, I think it was a Dreamless Overlord boss, I don't know if this was recorded, but I had her fight some Calamity class type boss, and she soloed specifically because of the fact that Jianxin can shield herself, especially at low health, heal herself so that she doesn't have to worry about dying, and then with the counter, if I make a mistake, I don't gotta worry about it because she won't take damage. All of this stacked on top of each other in a boss fight that didn't have a time limit, I was just gonna win that fight. And I know for a fact that she's a really good unit with a really strong kit. I'm not gonna drop her, but I'm not enjoying her as much as I wish I was, which is very unfortunate to say. But at the same time, she's still on the main team, so what can I do about that? Lingyang. A lot of people are saying Yinlin is not a good unit, like tier 2, tier 3 sort of deal. Here's the thing, because of the way that this video is structured and the fact that I care about fun more than I care about meta-ness, Lingyang is really fun. He has the speed that I wish Jianxin had, and despite playing this man once throughout that companion mission, I enjoyed how his moves felt upon contact. I do remember that I did only do it once, so I gotta review the footage later. It was him jumping on enemies like the dance thing he does at the end of his companion mission. I personally didn't have that much trouble controlling the dude. I thought it was fun and I thought it was fine. I can't give you the specific details on his stuff like resonance skill ability or heavy attack combo links or something along those lines. All I remember from playing Lingyang was that he was very fun, and if I wasn't already focused on getting Jianxin accidentally Verina, which I'm not really complaining about given meta, and Calcharo, I probably would have pulled Lingyang. You know what's crazy about this game? It seems like all the units are not bad, and if you just have everyone, or rather you can just choose to not pull for anyone, have a bunch of 4 stars and just totally be fine, or at least have whatever starting roster the game gives you and you just totally be fine. That's why I think, because it's an action game and more so on the fact that it's very skill focused, unless the content you're doing is very high level cap in comparison to your own, you can kind of just have whoever and just do content. I don't think it's that serious to focus on tiers, but if you play like that, you play like that. It's however you enjoy the feel of the game. I think I went on a tangent, but Lingyang's really fun. My tier list. Spectro Rover. I played her a majority of the game because of course you do. That's how the game is. I think she's a lot of fun, just straight up. And the reason why I realized that was because of her time-stopping intro skill. I think it's the intro skill. It might be the outro skill. Her coming in or going out of the team to freeze enemies for a couple of seconds as I just start wailing on them with someone else is really fun. Not even caring about her other stuff like the Forte circuit with half bar and then having an altered effect on the skill that she uses, or her heavy attack that she can just plunge her fist into the enemy's gut at the end of a basic attack combo. That's all cool, but I think the reason why I just think she's so fun and one of the favorites for me to play is that time stopping stuff. If not for that, I think she'd just be pretty universal. And it's really funny how good of a unit this chick is despite her being a main character, because normally protagonists in gacha games are good enough to clear early game and then that's it for late game, but nah, she's really good. Not as good as Rover Havoc though. But here's the thing, I think she's fun, sure, but she wasn't my favorite. And I really find that upsetting because I didn't want to play Havoc Rover for a while because I enjoyed Spectro Rover so much. But I was doing certain content where my Spectro attacks weren't doing as good as it could be. By this point, I had 3 built out characters, including Spectro Rover, that I didn't want to build more on top of to save resources. And I wasn't really at the point where I felt like I needed to build more characters. So I caved and I went, all right, let's figure out how Havoc works. And she's pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that. She's even higher on the tier list in comparison to Spectro. What does she got? I've been using her a lot. She has her Forte circuit that allows her into a winged devil state. I don't know exactly what it's called. It changes a property on her resonance skill with the scythe thing. She has a pretty cool looking resonance liberation. She's very simple. She's very fun to play. I wouldn't say her heavy attack is a launcher, but it does look like it's a small sort of winged uppercut, which I think looks nice. I think she's very fun. I think a lot of people, when they get to the part where they get Havoc Spectro Rover, I think when a lot of people get to the part where they unlock Rover Spectro. Wow, it's Havoc. Why can't I say that? I think a lot of people, when they eventually get to Havoc Rover, they're going to enjoy her a ton. And considering how you can kind of just switch between the 2 elements means that at any point, if you're lacking a Spectro, if you're lacking a Havoc, you have them right there. But in terms of who I think is the most fun, at least in the comparison of these 2, I think Spectro is fun because of time stuff. But I think Havoc Rover is still a really solid unit to play around with. I guess my only complaint before I move on to the next character is how the echoes are still being used from the previous element. So I have to manually switch from going, oh, okay, let's match Havoc, and then let's match Spectro. If it had something like, specific MC layouts like how they do in Honkai Star Rail, where depending on the path that you're currently on, your relics will transfer over to the path that you're currently using, that would be cool. But unfortunately, that's not the case right now. And since I've been sticking with one element for a while, it's not too big an issue for me right now. But I do think that's something that they should do. Game's been fun. Can't deny that. Yinlin, at the time of this recording, is not here yet, but she's still close enough away from this recording's release that she might just barely get into this video. So for now, she will be right here. If the video ends and I don't talk about her at all, she didn't drop yet, but she's very close. But she'll be here soon. It's just dependent on how soon I want to have this video uploaded. This looks like Danjin. That's her name, Danjin. She is a surprising amount of fun. She's like if Arlen was a more fun unit in Honkai Star Rail. She's another unit that actually has a multi-hit resonance skill. The fact that she has a 6 combo string, which is basic, skill, I think is pretty cool because that's just an action character, being completely honest. And I get that this is an action game with other action characters. She feels the most action character on here. I think there's a variant with basic 2 times and skill 2 times. She's very fun and I suck at using her because I haven't reached the point where I can properly use characters correctly, I guess is what I'll say. I kind of just been hitting buttons for the most part, I'll admit that, but I've still been clearing content, surprisingly. And with Danjin, her sacrificing her health to do most of these skills puts me at a disadvantage because I'm not good enough to start parrying stuff. I'm not good enough to not get touched. I'm just hitting buttons. That being said though, I think she's very fun. This is all based on how fun I think units are in the game. As much as positioning in my mind wouldn't matter all that much, the fact that some people would disagree for this, I think it would be really funny. So I'm just gonna continue to put characters in places and may or may not decide to switch their positions at the end of the video. And if not, then oh well. Aalto is a lot more fun than I thought he would be. And the reason why I just think he's really fun and or funny in this context is his shadow clone illusion technique. I think it's his resonance skill. Look, if I've been saying resonance skill, I hope you know what I'm talking about because I still haven't really internalized all of the terms in the game. I kind of just hit buttons. I won't front. I forget how this worked, but he has some sort of ability where he leaves the shadow clone and then some air ring circle allows him to turn invisible once he dashes through it, or some sort of effect like that. There's something that turns him invisible and allows him to do a bunch of other combos out of it, or does some slight damage to the foes around him. I'm gonna be honest, I did his tutorial once for the sake of gathering footage for this video, and I didn't play him as extensively as I did other characters, but I still had a fun time all around. The thing that sucks about making a fun video like this this is where I have to rely on what knowledge the game is presenting to me, because I don't have properly built out units aside from maybe 3 of them. So everyone else, I gotta just hope that the game gave me a good enough build to work with what I got, so that the feeling that I had is about as accurate as it could be in that moment. And look, during the tutorial, I enjoyed the man. I don't know, what do you want from me? I had fun. I think of the 3 gun users, Aalto's most likely the most fun. Chixia over here, I think is pretty fun too. She's way more speed focused in that when she has a full clip of her Forte circuit bullets, correct. Yeah, you can tell I'm still trying to get the names down instead of just hit buttons. She can dump about half of her current amount of clips so that she can have some explosion type of attack. I didn't mention how every gun unit has the ability to zoom in on the target, which I don't think has an overall effect on their gameplay, but I do think that having them have this third-person shooting mode is pretty cool. I think Chixia, man, I've been saying Chixia for so long, I actually forgot what her name's supposed to be pronounced. I'm sorry. I think of the gun users, she is the fastest, but that comes at a cost of her not dealing as much damage. That being said though, her little dodge rolls into holding down the skill button to do multiple bullet attacks like a bayonetta, I think is pretty good. I think I enjoy Aalto a little bit more, but it's close. It's not really that big of a difference, or at least that big of a deal, based on how much fun that I was having. Okay, we got Taoqi. I know what I said. I enjoyed using this chick. However, I know for a fact that I am not playing her correctly. She is slow, but in a fun way. I think she's the type of unit that has to be played in a specific way. I think her heavy attack is actually a counter, of which once she gets hit, she actually starts to build her forte circuit, and her basic attacks, I think, become enhanced basic attacks. I don't remember what her heavy skill does, but I think it assists in the heavy attack parry counter thing sort of deal. I actually had no issue with the fact of her being slow, which I would normally have an issue with, but I don't. I think she's just really good in terms of playstyle. However, I just think that she's a character that requires a lot of time to fully understand, because she's not like everyone else. She's not just show up, start hitting people, and expect it to work. I think she requires more of a game plan where you have to plan out your counters accordingly and work with the fact that her basic attacks are going to be slow, so you gotta make sure they hit hard. She's still fun. Despite me knowing that I've been playing her wrong, and knowing that I'm gonna take a while before I can properly get her timing down for everything, she's still very fun. What have been your opinions on this list so far? Comment below if you agree or disagree. I would love to hear your opinions on how fun you believe characters have been in the game so far. Because so far, aside from these 2, one being not memorable and one where I'm just coping, I think everyone's just been really fun. And I've yet to have a bad time just playing the game in general. I mean, I've had some hiccups here and there, but I wouldn't say this has been a bad time. Speaking of bad time, Mortefi. When I first touched this man, I thought, yo, this man's slow and I don't like it. And then I gave him another shot recently, and way more fun than I thought. His summoning of the fire stand spirit, whatever it is, allows him to do big combustible damage. And I think that's his deal. I think him as a gun character is meant to be more shoot into combustion into nuke the screen. Imagine him just shooting everyone and each bullet shot just leads to a big explosion. That's the type of gun unit this guy is. And apparently of the 3 gun users that are playable in this game at the moment, that being Mortefi, Aalto, and Chixia, Mortefi is in fact the strongest, from what I understand. That being said though, in comparison to everyone else, I do think that he's better to play than Chixia. However, I still think Aalto is the most fun of the 3 gun users. But still though, Mortefi, after giving him another shot, I understood that although his playstyle isn't something that I would default to, it is still a playstyle that I enjoyed throughout the game. And I hope you guys understand that my Not For Me segment requires me to just really accept the fact that this is not a character that I would stick with or want to stick with. But given the situation, everyone else here I think has been accurately portrayed. Yeah, Yuanwu's been one of my main units since day one. And it's crazy because I know for a fact this man is not the strongest, but Yuanwu has the exact amount of speed that I want in a punch type character. The dude's fast, his heavy skill leads to that lightning pillar that builds my Forte circuit. My Forte circuit allows me to gain additional attack after my heavy attack. Yuanwu is just so fun, man. I don't know what else to tell you. However, I do think that his starting basic attack should be faster, only because I keep mistiming the parry, but that's just a me issue. That's literally a me issue. I don't think it's that big a deal. Now that we covered them, I should tell you that my main team is still Yuanwu, Rover, Havoc, and Jianxin, with me building towards Calcharo, Verina, and another character that we haven't talked about yet. But that's how you know how much I'm enjoying Yuanwu specifically, because that man just has what I want, and I'm enjoying playing him, which is the whole point of this tier list, how fun I'm having with characters. Speaking of, Baizhi, oh god, I forgot, dang it. I had a bit where I was just gonna pronounce characters' names wrong, and it went so far ahead of me that I legit forgot how to pronounce characters' names. Baizhi. Just correct me in the comments below. Spell it phonetically because I'm an idiot. I wanted her to be here. I really did. I really did. She's at least around here. Here's why. Have you played V from Devil May Cry? Because she's like her, but instead of controlling 3 of the phantoms or whatever they're called in DMC5, she's just controlling 1. And she's still really fun. She's the type of keep away character where just hitting from a distance is really funny if you had the ability to taunt. I think it's just her heavy attack that allows her to just deal constant damage with her ice spirit just spinning around the field. And this would be the part of the game where you go, alright, I guess I could just hit the taunt button and start Fortnite dancing on them while they're being dealt numerous damage. I'm also surprised that she has healing properties because now she can just also be a healer. I guess that means that this game does have 3 healers at this point, which, you know what? No, that makes sense because you're supposed to have about 3 teams for endgame. So yeah, that makes sense. I have no idea how strong she's supposed to be for the tier list, and frankly, I don't care. I accepted the fact that she is a lot more fun than I expected her to be, despite her being such a big keep away unit. But considering that this is all opinionated, and clearly you guys would have different play styles that you would prefer to over my own, it is what it is. I mean, it's not like this tier list will mean anything at the end of the day. It's just all for fun. Sanhua though. Sanhua is really interesting. She has timing on her Forte circuit. I forget if you're supposed to be using it with a heavy attack or a skill, but depending on the move that you use, you have to time the release of that button with the Forte circuit. And I think that's very cool. I don't know how that translates to damage though, but I think overall, her freezing technique into a timing of the release into additional combos is just a fun time all around. I would probably put her around here-ish. Even though I don't remember all her toolkits, she's very simple to understand. Just release the button at the right time. And to be honest, I don't think me trying to time the release of the button distracted me from actually attacking units on the screen, because all I had to do was just look down for a quick second, release, and then go back. And I think that's why she's able to freeze units too, specifically so that you're given time to release the button and not immediately get one-shotted because, oh, I was looking down instead of looking at the fight. Which is a lot of fun. I appreciate that. YangYang's just up here too. Actually, I'd probably put her around here-ish? Yeah, let's make a correction. These 3 were definitely for me in the early game. Let's say here, actually. Yeah, these 3 were characters I used a bunch in the early game before I got Jianxin and etc, etc. YangYang, the reason why I put her up so high is because of her Forte ability. Her Forte circuit. It's gonna be really funny throughout this whole video. It's not even called Forte circuit. Her holding heavy attack into an additional basic and then to do the just multi-slash. I want to say it's a Virgil reference, but I could be mistaken. I just forget what the move's called. I don't think I'd be incorrect to say that she has big Virgil energy. Her resonance skill has this multi-slash attack that's in a circular sphere, if memory serves. Although her resonance liberation does have this giant gale wind sort of property, where it just has a whole whirlwind to keep people stationary. But I think that her building up her meter to do the whole big cyclone, hold heavy attack into basic attack is what I think is the best part about her toolkit, just to execute. Even if it didn't do that much damage, which I'm not saying it doesn't, I'm just saying even if it weren't, it's still really fun to execute. Even though I stopped building her in early game because I wanted to focus on Yuanwu, the Rovers, and Jianxin, she is definitely going to be on the second team alongside Calcharo and Verina. I have no idea who the next 3 will be. I'll figure that out when I get there. But I guess in terms of tier lists, you know what, sure, let's leave this as it is. Well, would you look at that, some time passed and Yinlin is actually out, and to no one's surprise, she's at around here. Here. I'm gonna be honest, I'm shocked the placement I was going to be putting on here, because I thought she was just going to be a FOMO unit that does big damage where people want to use her because she's hot. But no, she's actually a lot of fun. Despite her main weapon being the resonator like Verina or Baizhi, not only is she surprisingly fast, she could do big damage, she could do huge screen nukes, and it's just really fun to play. The more you use her resonance skill, the more her forte circuit builds, which leads to that screen nuke. Overall, she's just a really fun unit. And I spent everything trying to get her. It was a struggle. I think we can move on now. Feel free to let me know what your fun tier list for characters has been below. And if you're curious about another style of fun tier list that I've done before, I have one right here on Nick All-Star Nick All-Star Brawl 2. That was the name of the game. I'm not even gonna cut that out because I'm just an idiot. I hope you enjoyed the content. I appreciate everyone who's been supporting the channel as of late, as I've been trying to make more videos of consistent quality. Be safe, have fun, and I'll be seeing you.